Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you're doing very well. Today we're going to transplant this little root over rock bonsai. You can see that it's growing nicely. The roots are covering the rock very nicely. And I've already gone ahead and pruned it a little bit. We can see here that we pruned most of it just because we want to keep things in proportion, and we don't want to have a lot of foliage, a big tree with a tiny rock growing underneath it. A tiny rock underneath the tree that is growing. So we've gone ahead and pruned this. We're going to take cuttings from this. So now, next thing that we're going to do is take it out of its spot and remove roots and the old soil. So let's go ahead and do that. And a couple of ground rules when it comes to working with bonsai growing over rock. It's never, first of all, be careful. Don't do what I just did. It's never pull the plant. Never pull the branches. Don't try to, use it as leverage when you're moving the roots or anything. No. If you are supposed to move it, you should always take the rock. Always hold the rock in place, just so that you don't run the risk of, pulling from the plant and just it comes loose because you pulled it. So we can see that at the bottom of the pot we had little crushed bricks that were going to help us with drainage. And now we're just removing the old soil. We're going to work a little bit on the roots, and then we're going to be able to put it in its new pot. So what we're doing will also help us because we want to in the future plant this in a much more shallow pot. So we're gonna remove big roots, and we're also going to diminish the volume of the root mass, so that in the next couple of years we can put this in a bonsai pot. Okay, we're getting there. You can see that the roots that we're going to be removing today are right there. I think we have to work on this side a little bit more. There we go. This tree is planted in, I think, 100%, or if not, very close to 100% turfus. So we can see that the roots have liked that, but it's been growing in this little pot for far too long, because we can see that we started to develop long and very, powerful roots that have absolutely no place in bonsai. So those are the ones that we're going to remove, and we're going to remove. And we're only going to try and keep the little fibrous roots, the feeder roots that are going to help us to keep our tree healthy. Let's see. I think we have another one right here. I don't know where it goes. Let's see if by pulling I can. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from or where it's going. So we're gonna just remove it. Okay, so we can see that it's looking better already. The tree is still nice and firm on the rock, which is good. That tells us that the roots have completely wrapped themselves around the rock, and that's a very good sign. Okay, so we continue, get rid of the old soil, and even though we call this old soil, this is very good soil still. It's holding its shape, and like I've said before, a good thing about turf is that it holds nutrients. So if we use some of the old soil when we transplant this tree, it's going to be good. It's going to be absolutely no problem. Okay, so I can see here, I'm going to try to show you, that we have some roots, some of those strong roots that I told you, that are still growing downwards, and we want to redirect them so they start growing horizontally. So we're going to remove those. We got one here. We got another one right here. I don't know if you can see. There we go. That's it. And you can actually see the stone right there. See that? Right there in the middle. You can see the stone. So we continue to work on the roots. We got one here that's growing underneath the root. The root. I think we're gonna remove it. That way we'll be able to encourage the growth of those little fibrous roots that we want. There we go. That's it. Oh, this is starting to bite. We don't want that. I might need to sharpen my tools. So there we go. We reduced the root mass nicely. It's a nice compact shape now. And this is going to be absolutely no problem when it comes to the health of the tree, because like I said at the beginning, we've already removed a lot of foliage. So if we were to remove a lot of roots but no foliage, the tree would go into a shock because it wouldn't have enough roots to feed all of the foliage. So that's why sometimes when we transplant, plants don't like it. When it comes to, and that's especially when it comes to broadleaf trees and tropical trees, and sometimes the citrus trees as well. If we're working with a pine, however, the opposite is true. When we transplant, and if we do a heavy root operation, we want to leave as much foliage as possible. Or we might not want to touch the foliage at all, because that's what's going to encourage the pine to grow new roots. So that's what we do when we work with different species. So what I'm doing is filling this little container that I have right here. You can see it there, with new soil. You can see that it's much smaller, and more important, it's shallow. It's more shallow, right? So let me just put this aside. Can you see there? Let me just, there we go. Okay, so there we go. I think we can remove a little bit more. And then we can start to place our little tree in position. This is, I think, the first root over rock bonsai that I ever tried. You can see I'm no expert, but once you get to know the species that you're working with, it's, you know, fairly easy to predict how they're going to behave when you plant them or when you perform certain techniques on them. So, for example, this is a ficus, and I know that they are very strong when it comes to roots. If you leave a ficus unchecked for a couple of years, you know, and it's growing on the side of your house, it's going to cause severe structural damage to your house just because the roots are so powerful. You know, they have so much energy growing, so much energy circling to the roots, and that's amazing. Some other species that I've heard are very good when it comes to working with rocks, like growing them over rocks, is maples. Surprisingly, because most people think that maples are very delicate and you're not supposed to move them in a certain way, or they're very finicky when it comes to water and nutrients, and but not. Well, yeah, I've also heard that maples are very good when it comes to bonsai over rock. So I think that's it. We can see that it's nice and settled in its new pot. Let me just get this out of the way so we can see better. You can see that. That's it. New little pot. This is actually going to be the front right here. Oh, so there we go, look. Yeah, we can see what's going to happen in the future. See that? So the movement of the tree is going in this way. So this little branch is going to be a very important branch, maybe even the main one. And then we have this new apex that we have right here, and we're actually going to direct in this direction. So we create a counterpoint in this section of the tree. There we go. So as you can see, it's easy. It's easy to transplant bonsai over rock, a ficus root over rock. But we have to be careful. I never pulled from the trunk. I always was very careful, and if I needed to move the entire thing, I always grabbed the little rock. So that's what we have to do. Next thing that we will do right now is water it, and we will see how the water actually cleans the surrounding roots, and that's going to give us a more, you know, a clear idea of what we're working with. That's the next thing, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we are, and here we go. This is water. We can see that because the soil has a little bit of peat moss. This is a little bit water repellent. But if we keep going, the water is going to eventually seep into the soil. And something else that we can do is use a spray bottle, so that way we'll break the surface tension and we'll let the water go down. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we go. Everything looks better when it's wet, doesn't it? When it comes to trees, at least. Looks, not so much. Okay, so I think we've already broken the surface tension, and now the water can seep in. Okay, little by little, water goes down, and we complete our work for today. So, as usual with any transplant, we're going to keep this in a shady spot, where it can get dappled sunlight, not very strong or direct sunlight. And in the next couple of days we can go ahead and keep watering it, and then we will position it in its original spot on our garden. So we can hear the water running because of the drainage holes, and also because of the nice quality bonsai soil that keeps water but also allows it to flow. That's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you like this video. And the last thing that we're gonna do, I'm going to show you an update on my cherry blossom bonsai from scratch. It's been 2 months since I planted it in the colander, and it's growing nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and see that. And here we have it. A couple of leaves that I cut. But look, like I said, like I predicted in the video, it's growing like crazy. You can see the new foliage. We can see side branches already developing, which is very good. And we can see the little trunk getting thicker and thicker, gaining girth. So it's cool, guys. It's growing nicely. I like it. You can see that I've been fertilizing heavily with organic fertilizer. So I think that's one of the main reasons why it's doing so well. Organic fertilizer, slow release organic fertilizer, spring through fall, and you will get nice results. This is actually kind of a double feature when it comes to my bonsai from scratch, because I have the cherry blossom here, and I also have my pine bonsai from scratch pine edition right here. So the last time that you saw it, and this little, these little shoots were very small, but we can see that they've fully developed now, and we can see that bluish color characteristic of this particular species. Like I said, this is a Pinus Cembroides, a type of Mexican short needle pine, and we can see that it's growing nicely too. So, see the difference. The citrus tree, evergreen tree, we can see the difference in the growth rate. But again, colander, organic fertilizer, and you'll get nice results, guys. So anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. As usual, if you have any questions, comments, anything, please drop them down below. Maybe you want to subscribe in order to get updates when it comes to my videos, and that way we can connect with bonsai practitioners from around the world. So that's it for today's video. More coming very soon. Hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.